furnace that's short cycling. Looks like the igniter's working. It's calling for heat. Ignites, a few seconds, flames out. First thing we'll try is cleaning the flame sensor, see if that helps. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that your breaker's off before we start playing with any of these electrical parts here. Don't want to get a shock. Then you're going to want to locate the flame sensor when your furnace is short cycling. Make sure that it's clean. Sometimes it gets a little bit of a carbon buildup. It doesn't sense the flame anymore. The purpose of this flame sensor here is to basically just go protrude right into the burner and make sure that there's a flame, so that no gas being expelled into the furnace without being ignited. To remove the flame sensor, basically there's just a little tiny screw right under the burner there. So we're just going to remove that screw and pull the flame sensor out. So this is what the flame sensor looks like. Basically just a little steel rod. So there's a little bit of carbon buildup on it. I'm going to clean it off. I'm not sure if that's the problem, but it sure can't hurt to clean this and make sure that it's sensing properly. What I'm going to use to clean it is some steel wool. You don't want to use sandpaper because you don't want to scratch it. It'll just reduce the life of the sensor. So use something abrasive, but not to the point where it's actually going to go and scar the rod. Once it's cleaned up, just put it back on the little clip there, and we're going to screw it right back in to the burner. See if it's still cycling. Yeah, still cycling. So now we're going to check the filter. It's another common problem. Make sure it's not dirty. Next thing we want to check is the air filter. Make sure it's not restricting any airflow. And it looks pretty clean. I changed it not too long ago, so it's in pretty good shape. It's not. I don't think it's restricting any flow. You want to make sure that the arrow is always pointing towards the furnace, because that is the direction of the airflow. This is your return here. And that comes through the blower motor and then up through, and the air gets warmed as it goes through the burners. So it's not the air filter and it's not the flame sensor. The next thing I'm going to check is the high limit switch, which is just connected right at the back here. So we'll disconnect those two bolts there and do some testing on the high limit switch. If that isn't a problem, then the next thing we'll check is the pressure switches. So basically the high limit switch is just a safety switch that's supposed to open when it's greater than 200 degrees Celsius. So what we're going to do is just test it and make sure that it's opened when it's off. Right now it's again continuity, so the circuit is closed, so that's good. So testing okay. Next we'll just check the voltage from the lines just to make sure that we're getting voltage coming to the switch. Next thing I'm going to do is just jump the high limit switch to see if that was the issue, but it looks like that high limit switch wasn't causing the problem. Igniter still comes on. That's still struggling. So we've tested the filter, looked at the flame sensor, looked at the high limit switch. The next thing we're going to look at is the pressure sensor switches. Now normally these are supposed to be opened, and they only get closed. The circuit only is closed when the inducer motor starts and creates a draft up the exhaust here, so that they can actually, basically the sensors actually try to sense a pressure difference when that inducer motor starts. So these are supposed to be open. We'll just test them with a multimeter. We'll pull these lines off and test them, make sure that there's no continuity. So we're doing a continuity test on the first pressure sensor, the low one, and no continuity. So far so good. No continuity on the other pressure sensor. So far so good. Well, we've pretty much tested all the switches now. Everything checks out. Filter's good. The flame sensor is good. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move the inducer motor and see if any birds or mice got stuck in there. When I remove the inducer motor, I can see that it's not, there's no mice or birds in there, but I did find a heck of a lot of water. So I wonder if that actually is causing the problem. So I'm going to drain that water, and we'll see if that actually helps. There's not a blockage in the trap, and the line here wasn't plugged either. So I'm guessing that just years and years of snow accumulation draining down through the pipe, and must have gone into the inducer motor. So anyways, just about to fire it back up and we'll see what happens. Well, that was it. It's running smoothly now for the last few minutes. No more short cycling. So the likely cause was water in the inducer motor. Probably caused from a recent snowstorm. I'm guessing that we just had some snow that blew down the exhaust pipe, drained into the inducer motor.